solidarity with the Electoral Commission in this journey. So this evening, I welcome you to the results transmission phase of this process. Today, we, as a commission, we appreciate Kenyans who turned up in large numbers to exercise their democratic right to vote. Voting has now closed in a majority of the polling stations, except in a few areas in Kakamega, makwiny, Isiolo, Nairobi, and Mombasa. At the time we were coming here, I believe they are about to finish or just about to close. And this is because voting started late, and as a result, the time that was lost was compensated. The results transmission has started, as you can see on the screen. What you see is the result forms coming in, and already there's a percentage you can see there. And these transmitted forms are also available on our public portal on the website. And I believe the media, the presidential candidates, and other stakeholders and Kenyans at large can log on to the public portal and have access to the presidential result form 34As. And when the form 34Bs will be collected, they'll also be posted on the public portal. And just to remind Kenyans that the Commission has 3 tallying centers at the constituency, county, and national tallying center, which is right here at Bomas. Now, what happens at constituency tallying center? We shall have tallying of results from polling stations and declaration of results or winners of the member of National Assembly and the member of County Assembly. That's at the constituency. And there will also be collation of presidential, gubernatorial, senatorial, and countwoman member of National Parliament results. Then we have the county tallying center, where there will be final tallying and declaration of results for gubernatorial candidates, senatorial candidates, and countwoman member of Parliament. Here at the National Tallying Center, we shall be doing verification of transmitted image of the result from 34S against original from 34S. So the images are coming in, but our returning officers will bring the original forms, then we shall do verification once we receive them. And you can see the desks will be here in the open, 5 desks, and each desk will have the IBC officials, and agents of presidential candidates. All the 4 agents will be accommodated here. Then we shall also have verification of constituency form 34Bs against their respective form 34As, followed by collation of form 34C, which is the form that has a collection of all the polling station results. Then we shall also have confirmation of constitutional threshold of 50% plus 1, and also confirmation of 25% of majority of counties of the votes garnered. We shall then follow with the declaration of presidential results and issuance of certificate to the president-elect. So those are activities that will be in this phase of results at the National Tallying Center. So here we shall have 3 screens running. The first screen is the one you see on the right, which is projecting the number of Form 34As received from polling stations. The second screen will project collected results received from the constituencies. And the third screen will project the county aggregate of all the 47 counties. In transmitting the results transmission system has been configured to send the results only once, with one QR code which is configured for that polling station. Persons authorized to be at the polling station include the media, observers, and polling station agents who are allowed to take an image of the Form 34A. And we all must remember that results announced at the polling station are final and cannot be changed by anyone. So that is the exercise we are undertaking. And once the verification is complete, the constituency returning officers will come present the results for announcement. In conclusion, I must mention that the law requires the Commission to undertake verification of presidential election results and declare President-elect within 7 days on conclusion of the polls. As a Commission, we call for patience among Kenyans as we undertake this rigorous exercise, and we also endeavor to complete this exercise as soon as possible. So thank you very much. God bless all of us, and God bless Kenya. Asante sana.
Thank you very much. Let's give him a better hand of applause, please. Then we have Muungano Choir.
George Wajakoya 1 vote and David Mwaure 0. Remember, as I said, this is that area where we have seen Raila Odinga enjoy massive support, and also it's one of those counties where we are seeing the number of votes that candidates would get there. But Tom, before we get back to it, I'd just like to bring Gibson on this one very, very quickly, and the number of votes. But before we get to that, Tom, what do you have?
Yeah, I understand that. I mean, the voice of the voter is now being heard, of course, and those numbers are coming in quite fast. Let's take our viewers to Machakos, where Dan Mwendwa is on assignment there. Dan, if you can hear me, what do you have for us so far?
We are here in Machakos University, where already we are getting some of the provisional results from Machakos County. Remember, we have been here the whole day from morning till now, and we have been visiting different polling stations across the county, and as we speak now, some of the results have already started coming to our tallying centers. As we speak now, here in Machakos University, the Machakos University polling center, 294 voters took part in the presidential elections, where Raila Odinga 108 votes, gained 219 votes. By William Ruto with 23 votes. Wahiga Mwaure didn't get any vote, and George Wajakoya got 1 vote. When we cross over to Kadhiani Primary School, Raila Odinga leading with 2.
Before we get there, let's just go back to Kakamega a bit and look at that last constituency before we get to do that comparison on how when you look at how the voting patterns look like in 2017, very quickly, look at how things look like. We had Uhuru Kenyatta obviously on the lead with 54.17%. Raila Odinga came in closely with 44%. That was a total of 6,820,598. So that county which we have just moved from focusing on, that is Kakamega County. Let's quickly look at how things panned out in 2017. Let's quickly go to that county, try and see how things look like in respect to what we have so far. This is how it looked like. Look at that, just showing you in the various constituencies that exist in this particular county. Raila Odinga clearly enjoyed a majority of the support there. That was in Kakamega County. As at that time, we had a total of 743,736 registered voters against, the valid votes as of then, which was at 555,581. I mean, Tom, when you look at this is clearly an, in respect to what we have now, because in 2022 we have slightly above 844,000 registered voters.
Yeah, 844. And in fact, if you look at even overall, at the national level, we have 22.1 million registered voters, as compared to the 19 million in 2017. And I just want to bring in Millie. Comparative analysis. We are seeing that the number of registered voters went up. What we are hearing from the candidates is that, there's a low voter turnout. So it's a bit of a paradox, right? That we're saying there's a low voter turnout, and yet we have a higher number of registered voters. And my question to you is, how does that, given that trajectory where we are heading, how do you think it will affect the final results?
I think that is why we constantly talk about the apathy that Kenyans have towards voting, because when more of us are registering to become voters, but the percentage of those of us who turn out to vote is decreasing every time, then it is interested in voting. So it's really is an issue of concern, because remember that in a democracy, you would like as much as possible for the leaders that you put into office to represent the will of the majority.
Yeah.
In fact, when we wrote our current constitution in 2010, with as a nation, was the issue of who should become president, and must they, because for many years we had a president leading when he actually had been getting the minority of the votes, so that you looked at the number of votes that were obtained by the opposition candidates, and there were more than the votes that were obtained by the then President Moi. So when we were then drafting the current constitution, one of the things we said is that's why we talk of the 50+1 and 25% in at least 24 counties, so that really as you come in as president, it is clear that a good percentage of the country would like to have you as president. So it becomes clear that we are having leaders that less of us have put in office. And it's important for us to have that interest in who we put in office, because then we can hold them to account.
Do you get a sense that sometimes, you know, or let me put it this way, there are issues on one end of the spectrum,
yes,
and then there are personalities on the other end of the spectrum?
True. True. Very true, because at the end of the day, strong personalities in the people who come and present themselves for the seats that we have set. Take an example of course we are speaking about figures today, but take an example of Wajakoya. He has been a very big personality in this election. He came in and his presence has been felt very strongly. But whether the issues that he has brought to the table, whether the kind of, whether it translates into voter turnout in the first place, whether it translates into a larger percentage of votes going into his docket or not, is something that we'll have to see.
Okay, you spoke of Wajakoya, and my colleague Doreen just broke down those numbers. I think if you look at overall,
the ELOG, the Election Observation Group, who are also just going around checking what is going on and whether the election is being conducted according to what is stipulated in the Constitution. For now, though, I want to hand it over back to you, Tom, in studio. We'll definitely be keeping tabs with what is going on. We are here. We are pitching tent here, and we'll be keeping vigil for the sake of our viewers. And one of the reasons, by the way, why you should be watching KBC is because we'll be bringing you all of this exclusively as soon as it happens, and we'll be coming to you later on in the evening to just brief you on what is going on. Back to you, Tom, in studio.
Thank you very much, Trevor Ngeno there, talking to both the presiding officer at the Kasarani Tallying Center and also an observer. We also do have an observer here in studio, and I will be coming to you shortly to talk to us also about what factors you think influence low voter turnout, because you've had the experience of many elections across the globe, so you'll be sharing with us why you think.
I have been waiting for this question from you since like in 10 minutes. I have been waiting for it. I was just watching one observer. He was representing, I hope, Action 8.
Yes.
He was saying, like, I was not expecting such number.
Yeah.
So he was expecting the name of the president in the future as well. This is against the norms of the election. He's not supposed to tell that.
Okay.
We are the one who are going to present our opinion. We are not going to say it was not expected.
Okay.
Did you get it?
All right.
So this is against it. Number one. Number two, this is democracy. Democracy, 50% plus 1 is the winner. There are so many countries around the world which has 50% plus turnout voter, voter turnout. So in democracy, it's an acceptable number, number one. Another factor, okay, there was something was expected more. Who was the one who expected? Whether there was the pre-election to find the number of the voter turnout, or was it just prediction? It might be the prediction.
Okay.
So this is the real number.
Yeah.
That number was not the real. That number was not tested with the people of Kenya.
Okay, and I'll come back to you because I noticed you feel.
I'm going to add some point on it. Another thing, registered voter are the numbers who are registered as a voter.
Yeah.
But that number does not mean that they will vote on that particular day 100%.
Yeah, yeah.
That is another point.
Yeah.
Another thing, when we register the voter,
yeah,
after the registration, then only we announce the candidacy. Right?
Yeah.
Some of the voters, they don't like to vote it. That's the human rights.
Yeah.
How we can use this term in order to spoil the politics of this Kenyan general election again.
Okay.
This is the sense that I'm feeling it. Because administrative wise, IEBC, I have been to so many polling stations, but I cannot guarantee, I do not have, I do not have any observer sitting in the morning 5 o'clock to 5 o'clock in the evening on that particular polling station. I just go for 5 minutes, see, and take the name of the polling station. So I cannot tell the exact 100% what happened on that polling station.
What happened on that polling station?
Yes.
Okay.
So it is just about, I'm saying the message I was, it's against the norms of the election. We are not supposed to expect who's going to win the presidency.
Yeah.
It's Kenyan. It's the Kenyan.
Who will
Kenya decided.
Absolutely. And
another. I'm sorry, because whenever I see some irregularities in it, so I challenge to anybody, election observer, observation group, find some irregularities, then we can understand why we are bringing some irrelevant issue to make the upcoming president with lots of bad images or something like that. End of the day, we are not going to stay in Kenya. Kenyan people will have to face on it. We're going to take the plane and go by Kenya. So we are not supposed to interfere any kind of political observation.
Okay.
If they are happy to share their evidences of the irregularities, then we can discuss on it.
Okay, I understand. And you did mention something about being the observer of the observers. I wonder how that works. You see, I'm quite aggressive on it as well. Because I was observing his observation. Yeah, absolutely, yeah. And you're very passionate about...
He was not supposed to expect this much turnout.
Yeah.
I told you, registered voters are not the voters. I'm going to vote 100%. Can you show me that number? No, there is no number.
There is no number. So maybe he gave his opinion. And by the way, we also are bound by certain rules. That
and another thing is, a registered voter are the voters who are registered. COVID happened, and this is one of the developing country. And in my country, there are millions of people outside the countries as well. Sometimes I do not get opportunity to vote in my country as well. So we cannot use that word politically. This is against the code of conduct of my organization, that what I do in the election, to set the election if they are trying to spoil other countries' election through politically.
Right. Okay, Millie Luanga, from a governance perspective, and he brings it out that, there are rules of engagement. We, the fourth estate, only project those numbers, but we cannot declare because that's not within our purview. But then there is the aspect of we are showing it, and the audiences are seeing the numbers. In fact, we are just updating and verifying our numbers, and I'll be handing over to Doreen shortly. But then there is also the aspect of, okay, we can see it. So there's that element of, are we hiding something that is already in plain sight?
That is why Doreen is doing an excellent job, because every time she comes up with the numbers, she keeps reminding people that, remember, these are provincial, these are not the real results, because there are very many factors that you have to take into account as you project the results. Remember that you're getting the results from your people who are coming from different polling stations. Someone may have For example, it's been sent in the phone, you may have read a 7 as a 1, or you could have read a 1 as a 7. There could be those slight mistakes that could have been read. And that's why even Chebukati, the returning officer of the presidential election, has to wait and verify the information that will have been sent through the KIMS when the people present themselves, and when they confirm, when the information has been confirmed by the returning officers in all around the country. So that's why it becomes very important, because some of the information you could even have doubled. You know, you could send the same polling station twice. Because these are things being churned out very quickly, and when things are happening, mistakes could happen. That's why verification becomes key. But also for good governance, there is nothing as good as transparency. When you allow everyone to come with the information, and then we shall all interrogate it. Remember that even the 4 presidential candidates have got their agents at Bomas, who will look at those, will verify. They are also verifying with their own agents on the ground. So it's about checking and counter-checking and making sure that at the end of the day, the numbers that you have on, you are all able to agree upon generally.
All right, and I'll be coming to Gibson Gisore to also tell us what he thinks about building that robust framework and having an auditing mechanism all the way to when Chebukati will be releasing those results finally. So, Doreen Narangi, what do you have for us now?
Changing, should I say minute by minute? Just what, in short, in under like 20 minutes ago, we were talking about 11,000, votes so far for William Ruto, but that's not quite the case right now. Remember that we have said, and we'll keep saying that all the time we're giving you this result, is that this is not the final result. So do not feel some type of way. Just be calm, cool your anxiety, because this is not yet the final result. These are just provincial results, and we keep updating them minute by minute as it comes. So far we are still on the 21 million registered voters. Those were the registered voters, particularly for this election. Right now we are standing at 59.54%. That is for William Ruto, a total of 21,398 votes so far, followed closely by Raila Odinga with 39.69%. That's a total of 14,264. Nothing was really changing much when it comes to Wajakoya, particularly in terms of percentage, because it still stands at 0.53%. Earlier, that was about 0.51%, if my memory serves me correct. That's around 190 votes so far. And then followed by the Agano Party leader, that is David Mwaure, with a total of 89 votes, which is 0.25%. And this is so far at exactly 8 minutes to 11. This is exactly what we have at this minute. But now, let's go to some... just looking at what also other counties are looking like. I remember also, much as we are looking at these results, bit by bit as they come, we shall also be doing comparison with 2017, and we shall stretch that further to 2013, because as Thomas mentioned, and as you're talking about, tonight, it's all about numbers, crunching them for you, trying to make them make sense, logic in a cogent way. That is what we are here for today. So let's just look at what we have in, let's start with Kiambu. Kiambu is also one of those counties to watch. This is actually county number 2 with highest number of voters. We are talking about a total of 1.2 million voters. That is what we are seeing in this particular elections. And so far, this are the results we have just for these 2 constituencies. That is Gatundu North and Gatundu South constituency. So that is what we currently have, at least as of now, in all these other constituencies that exist within Kiambu County. And obviously William Ruto is on the lead, going by what we are having there, a total of 4,397, which is 79%. But let's just pick on one of these constituencies and see. Let's pick on what? Let's pick on Gatundu South constituency. Let's look at that. This is also the home turf of President Uhuru Kenyatta, and earlier on today we saw him casting his ballot there. Looking at that, we are seeing William Ruto at 1,209 votes. votes so far. Raila Odinga 467, George Wajakoya at 9, and David Maure at 5. Let's look at the other constituency that we have still within the same county. That is Gatundu North. William Ruto just netting majority of the votes there, a total of 3,102 votes. Raila coming in second at 661. Right next is George Wajakoya at 14 and David Maure at 13. Now, before we look at Nairobi, I'd just like to bring in our governance expert on this one, Millie, and let me just speak your mind on this one as well, and your perspective, so to speak. We are talking about Kiambu County is also a majority of the votes. In fact, in the list of 6 counties, it comes in second. And there's also been a lot of conversation in respect to will the votes tilt to whom the president is supporting or to the deputy president? What is your perspective? I mean, it's all about numbers tonight. What do you make of all this?
And have the aspect of stronghold also in the back of your mind.
Exactly.
Yes, numbers don't lie. And we can see it's pretty telling. But I think that what people have been saying is that the last address by the president may have swayed people, because remember at one point we even had a by-election in Kiambu, and the president's party lost to UDA. And one of the things that most of the members of UDA kept harping upon was the fact that if the president cannot even secure a Jubilee ticket in a by-election in his own backyard, then how can he say he's still popular? So numbers don't lie, but I think that maybe it is not as bad, or the difference is not as much as Kenyans expected, given what we have been seeing in the last couple of months or weeks.
Will the swing vote have any impact on the final tally?
Definitely it will, because I think that if you look at the fact, if history is anything to go by, if you look at what we consider strongholds of the various presidential candidates, particularly the 2 front runners, and then you see the areas where they have traditionally been weak, if then these votes emerge, it will definitely impact the possibility of one moving higher than the other.
Yeah. Millie, also, I mean, there's also been a lot of conversation with respect to, particularly looking at Kiambu County as a whole, the question of, the feel amongst the people that this administration has not really taken care of them so well as it were. Knowing, again, this is where the President Uhuru Kenyatta comes from, might sort of tilt the vote a certain way?
Definitely it could, because there's been a lot of talk in that region, led of course by politicians, in the course of building political mileage. Whether there's enough truth in it is something else, because we have seen the president display what he has done even in those regions at the end of his term. So it becomes very difficult to completely rely on what the politicians have been saying, knowing that most of it is also being said for political mileage. But the more you repeat something, it is how advertising works, isn't it? The more you repeat something to somebody, the more they begin to believe it. So it is possible that they could have said it so often that the people within that region begin to believe that this is the truth, and they don't see it. And that's why some analysts have been saying that it is after the president has exited that people will realize he was actually so good to them in that region, and they will miss him. But it will be a wait and see.
I like the way she has navigated that without placing emphasis on the campaigns, which are over now.
Yes.
Or focus more on
numbers.
On the numbers, and also the anxiety levels for the voters.
Yes.
Because as Doreen says, there is a sense in which people are looking at the numbers that they have so far, and in the back of their minds, they are making conclusions. But Doreen is doing a good job reminding them that, hey, you know what? Not yet. Bado. Bado.
Wakwe wapole.
Yeah, wakwe wapole kidogo. I don't know whether I should ask Wakili a question before it slips my mind. There's this thing of the pronouncement by the court the other day, that in the event that technology collapses, let's collapse back to the manual. How do you operationalize that? You're a wakili.
I think it's important that the key person is the voter, because that's the person we have to capture his intentions. And at the point that you're going to use technology to deny them voting, it's going to be very sad. I think that's what the courts were trying to say, that at no point should a Kenyan go to the polling station if he has done his civic duty of registering and he appears in a register of IBC, then you tell him, now you don't appear in the kits, you can't vote. That would be very sad, and that I think if somebody's kid can go actually to the courts and have the courts declare that his rights have been denied, because that is very fundamental. It's upon IBC to ensure that, provided somebody has done his because technology is not my business. My business is to vote. And if you have come up with some way of voting, then you better ensure it works. If it doesn't work, I shouldn't be disadvantaged. That is very key. And I think that the courts were very clear in that in the event, given that the manual register is actually a printout from the KIMS kit, then there shouldn't be any worry as to this person voting is voting from the window or voting from outside. It's actually using an option, because technology fails at all times. It's not only in Kenya, it has failed even in the US, and people have resorted to counting the votes manually.
To the manual counting.
Yes, so way, that is very much expected.
If you look at the numbers, I think it was 200 KIM kits that did it out of
a
very negligible percentage. And my follow-up question would be, before I come to Kendall, is, I mean, look, we are seeing a Chebukati who is noticing problems and resolving them on the go. He's coming out and he's telling the country, you know what, this has happened, we have had stakeholder engagement, and the Venezuela saga has been rested and settled. And you see all the stakeholders coming out. So do you get a sense that that is also useful in building the confidence levels within the public?
That is very useful, Tom. I wouldn't expect anything less of Chebukati, because if you don't assuage people's fears in an election, in an election-charged country like Kenya, you're about to have problems. And in a sense, this is the wiser Chebukati, if I can say, because he has learned through the process. He has learned through the previous mistakes of various electoral commissions that Kenyans need updates a term at a time. Once a rumor has come up, come and clear it, so that people don't go again saying, you know, there was that thing which was said, maybe this is what is happening. You would have cleared it beforehand. And that is what he's trying to do, and telling Kenyans we're in control. And I think I respect the kind of Chebukati we have, because he has been leading from the front. As opposed to the last election, you could realize there was some confusion between him and Chiloba, who was in charge. And that ended up causing a lot of chaos and confusion. But this time, he's been well prepared in advance, detecting problems in advance, and actually giving a solution to them. Not waiting for the people to come and revolt and ask, why is this happening? And I think I like the way he's prepared, and the organization with the IBC is very okay. Sometime back here I said that this time IBC has invested in a communication team which is able to tell Kenyans that, you see, we're likely to have this problem, and this is what he has even called the candidates and their agents and told them, this is what we're planning, and this is what we expect from you. And that is very impressive of him.
That's very impressive. Do you think the Election Act of 2011 has dealt decisively with these issues of transparency, accountability?
Yes, to a greater extent it has, and also the aspect that they came up with the election regulations. That also, I think, Millie can agree that they have really played a key role. First, they also went and did proper training. I think this election, the backdrop of it, they've been doing a lot of training, talking to people who are the election stakeholders. So, and the other players have also come up, even with a book on an election manual. So with all these resources, you don't expect that things will be so bad, because Kenyans are becoming enlightened. I think you have heard from Deprak saying that he didn't see people miss voting, because even the election material you are going to vote, it's the same color as the box which you are going to put it in. So you can only, unless you are blind, is when you can actually have a red one being put in a blue one.
Or unless you're a man, colorblind.
Yes.
By the way, Millie, do you agree? Do you agree with that last point you made?
Yes,
in terms of the Election Act for 2011?
I think that to a large extent it's been a try, but the truth of the matter is this, that there's been a total confusion in the law. And I say this because remember, even the amendments that Chebukati tried to put in place, they came in late because Bunge was unable to, he tried to explain and pass those laws within time. And then when they were passed late, Kenyans, you know, we are very diligent with going to the courts. We rushed to the courts, and the courts went and reversed some of those amendments that had been proposed in some of those laws. So that the legal framework has not been key. And remember that the confusion did not start now, because there were amendments that were put in the laws in 2017 after the botched presidential election, the first one that was overturned by the Supreme Court.
Yeah, the Maraga one.
Yes, the Maraga 1 decision. Yeah. After the Maraga 1 decision, there were a number of amendments that were done to a number of laws, and they were done very quickly, and IEBC was caught flat-footed because they were unable to put in place systems and even train their agents quickly enough and give them enough information based on the new law. Now that law remained in place. Yeah. When they tried to amend it to rectify it, it stayed in the National Assembly for a very long time until we were going to the elections. Yeah. Remember that the focus then went to amending only the Political Parties Act, and that was because they wanted to create certain things like having a political party like Azimio that we have, so that it could produce a presidential candidate. So the legal framework has been weakened over time with all those amendments, and that has of course put IEBC in a little bit of an awkward situation, and I think that may have contributed to our seeing for the first time ever, as far as I can remember, elections being called off before elections.
Elections being called off?
Yes, because the elections were called off in 2 counties, gubernatorial, 2 constituencies. I heard of 1 ward, you know, simply because of mistakes that you cannot understand. Many people were asking, is this the general election or are these party primaries? Because you do not expect that. We have never seen that, as far as I can remember.
As far as you can remember?
Unless death, you know, death could have caused elections to be postponed, but we have never seen elections being postponed because we have not been able to clarify everything. And I cannot completely hold it against IEBC, because I also do appreciate that as a country we put them in a tight spot with our delays.
And I'll tell you another delay that has been pointed out previously by IEBC is the issue of funding.
Funding
is a very key parameter, and I want to bring in Kandel to tell us, because you're an observer, are those issues that you're concerned about? Because there is the institution that is charged with the responsibility of overseeing an election. There are those issues of funding coming very late, so it affects planning. Are those things that you are likely to capture when you are doing your final report?
I cannot truly. I have signed the code of conduct on it, and I'm not supposed to touch on that department.
Can I hold that for you?
This one?
Badge, just give it to me. It's okay. I'll hold it for you.
Okay.
Thank you. Yeah.
And I'm not at this stage to, sometimes I do analyze the politics, analyze the legal issues.
Not really the politics, because this is an open secret that within our framework, sometimes the money comes, yes, but it comes a bit late, and it's likely to affect. So as you reflect on that, let me bring in. Let me bring in Doreen, because I know you are bound by certain.
No.
You're yet to write your report.
I missed one point when I was explaining about the.
Okay. No, you can share it before we go to Doreen.
Because I'm an observer.
And a strong one.
I cannot the Kenya decides.
Kenya decides.
Well, it is very sensitive when you speak, and especially in front of the media, like somebody did in front of the media there. Yeah. If you allow me to take that video, I can talk to IEBC to cancel the accreditation right now.
Okay, okay. Now you made that point.
Number one.
You made that point, yeah.
Number two, here is the problem.
Yeah.
I enter the polling station.
Yes.
And I start talking like, why this turnout is low? It's already 3 o'clock. Why we are having only 20%? Why we are having only 30%? These are the messages which has been taken by the opposition who gonna lose the election. These are the points.
Yeah.
That's what the Pendro Candle Initiative in this country or anywhere around the world.
Yeah.
It is very important to select the election observer. This is the point that has not been taken by IEBC, and this is the point that I have found. Okay. They have to take the interview, selecting the observers. And these days, I announced that my organization going to observe in Kenya. I received 149 applications, sir. I can give you the proof. I received 45 applications from Kenya, Nairobi. I did not take anybody because I cannot guarantee what they're gonna say for my organization.
Okay.
Did you get it? It is very sensitive.
Yeah, yeah, I get it.
And we cannot, IEBC next time, they don't give the accreditation just by seeing the documents on it.
Okay.
People are around the world, they are interested to go to the election, take the picture, hey, election, these are the things, they are spoiling it.
I get your point.
That's why I'm observing the observers.
Yeah, I get your point. And that information, I'm sure my bosses are watching, it will also get to the reporters.
And
so that we don't put a microphone
in front of the media, regarding the voter turnout, it is my department.
Okay.
Like political ways, legal, that's a legal, this Kenya department. That's not my department. Yeah. But this is, I know, national media. This is the first time in Kenya that I'm in front of this media. It's an honorable opportunity for me, for my life. And these days media gonna take me up and up and up and up.
And we're glad that
I'm ready to do any kind of debate regarding voter turnout issues with anybody.
All right.
Not inside the Kenya, outside the Kenya.
Outside the Kenya.
In front of the media.
All right, so that we can do a comparative analysis. And I thank you for just reminding us about that. Is the observer of the observers, Doreen Narangi, you had that, eh?
I had the opportunity to observe one of the observers that in the TV. I was observing him.
Brilliant. Doreen, what do you have for us?
He's basically the lead of the leads.
Yeah, that's another way of looking at it.
He's the lead of the leads.
The lead of the leads, yeah.
Okay, let's come back to the provincial results that we have on our magic wall. Let's look at what has changed so far. We are still just tracking how results are trickling in, and this is specifically for the presidential candidates. We are seeing numbers are changing. As we say, this is changing clearly minute by minute. And that's why we are here to just keep you abreast with how things are looking like. And the minute it changes, we are here to again let you know how things are changing. But keep in mind, just from what you're having on the header there, this is basically provincial presidential results. And it is important for me to remind you to just keep your cool. Don't be anxious, just stay put. This is what you're having there. 22,937 is what we are currently seeing there with the Deputy President William Ruto. That is a total of about 58.92%, closely there followed by Raila Odinga at 15,701, a total of 40.33% there. Wajakoya still maintains the 0.5%. This is now 0.52%, which is 201 votes so far. And we have David Maure still there with 0.24%. That is 93 votes. But there's one thing I want us to look at very quickly. This is Nairobi County. When you look at the past two elections, and we'll just go over there to see how that panned out. In Nairobi County, to be specific, Raila Odinga, who was also our presidential candidate in those two previous elections, enjoyed support in Nairobi County. But so far, with what we currently have as of now, 13 minutes past 11 a.m., still looks like he's enjoying support there. That is a total of 3,945, which is 50.42%, followed very, very closely with the Deputy President William Ruto at 48.80%, which is a total of 3,818 votes there. But let's just look at some of those constituencies where votes have already come in, and remember that this also is subject to change over time. And we are seeing majorly the blue color there, which is a clear representation of Raila Odinga. We are looking at Embakasi East constituency there, which is one of those areas where we are already seeing votes as Raka constituencies. But let's just look at comparison in respect to what we have. Let's begin with 2017 in Nairobi County specifically. Raila Odinga netted 834,032, a total of 51%. He was followed closely by Uhuru Kenyatta, who had 48.49%. That was in 2017. Quickly, what was, or better still, how things looked in 2013. Still, Raila Odinga was on the lead with 49.42%, which was of 691,156. This is in 2013 that we are also doing that comparison to just try and look at how things might tilt when it comes to 2022 general election. Uhuru Kenyatta also followed closely, as at that time, this was in 2013, with 659,490. That was 47.16%. So let's come to 2022. Clearly, again, from what you have, still Raila is on the lead, 3,945, 50.42%, followed closely by William Ruto, 3,818, 48.80%. But that's a very close, when you just look at the margins, it's really slightly above, 100, so to speak, at least as of now. But remember also, Nairobi is a key area to watch. Why? We are talking about 2.4 million voters. In fact, it is the county with the majority of voters, brings the country 60% of our GDP. It is the county to watch. Also, when you look at the companies, industries, majority of them are set in this county. And I just like also to bring Gibson on this one. The reason why I want to bring Gibson on this one is just I want to get his perspective, particularly when you look at the margins. This is very close. And in fact, earlier on, DP was on the lead, just about exactly 11, he was on the lead. And when you look again, particularly at the youth population, even in Nairobi County, are we likely to see something different in respect to how Nairobi vote might look like when you compare to 2013 and 2017? Again, knowing fully well that the gubernatorial candidate that is allied to the deputy president, we're talking of him as a young person. When you look at the gubernatorial candidate, coming from the Azimio faction, there was a lot of conversation with respect to him being a project. What are we likely to see in respect to this county? Gibson, what would you make of this?
I think, Doreen, I will want to agree with you, because the coming in of the candidate for Nairobi for UDA, that is Johnson Sakaja, has really tilted the scales towards Kenya Kwanza, as opposed to in the 2017 when Raila was leading. And I will want to predict that there is really some good work which has been done. There is really some good work which has been done by the Kenya Kwanza coalition in terms of Nairobi, and I think the numbers can tell. The numbers can tell that we are having a shift from it being Baba's bedroom. Now it's becoming a battleground for Kenya Kwanza and Azimio frontiers, given that the DP has done some good work. The DP has done some good work in the ground, and he's been campaigning in Nairobi on and off. And that has got to be manifested in the numbers which we are seeing. And of course, the aspect of Sakaja being in place and the drama which was surrounding is a clearing also. To some extent, politics is politics. As long as I was saying here that some publicity for politicians, you might consider it to be bad, but it actually acts in their gain because it depends on how they use it. Okay. For example, you remember Sakaja saying, these are people fighting me. I'm still going to be in the race, and it's actually being in the race. So that gives people some confidence.
Perhaps before Doreen, you take it.
Yeah.
Let me take you out from the campaign into
yes.
a very important demographic that Maureen talked about, the youth.
The youth, yes.
All right. These people are permanently on social media platforms. And
exactly.
if you go online, you know, there are so many positive images that you're seeing, you know, images that really warm your heart. But the converse is, we are also seeing some toxic online behavior. And I just want to throw this one to any one of you. How do we safeguard? How do we safeguard how do we end up with cyber hygiene, you know, where we now have more of positive images and very little of negative images? The Pareto rule. I think the management gurus call it that way.
I think if you may start, I don't know when they will join or what. My perspective is, it's social media. It's called social media. It's a mirror of society. Yeah. That shows the real image of what society is thinking. Yeah. People do not hide because they need to demonstrate, they need to express their views as they think, and they just have the phone there, they just have to put it across. Talking of bringing hygiene, now that's a different discussion, because now you can't separate what people think unless now you will want to start censoring.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the censoring aspect now will of course bring other aspects. You know, we have other countries where people actually close the internet. We had a very big discussion around whether we are going to shut off the internet during election or not.
But I think the CS came and said, you know what, we are not touching it.
Yes, they did that because even the other CS for IT, for communication actually said, we don't have a framework for shutting down internet. And that was very positive. I really commend you for that.
By the way, what would it mean shutting it down? Because we know there are some countries, and you'll tell us, there are some countries where they've actually blocked, you know.
Tommy, could actually mean that we're in a dictatorship or we don't believe in our systems. Because we have laws. If somebody has done a crime in social media, you can actually prosecute him. Yeah. So why shut it if you can actually use it to prosecute people who are doing on the wrong?
Yeah. Let me ask you, can we look at what is the very latest on the presidential race? We have Form 34A.
Yes.
We have been told that is where election will be lost or won. So you can see on your screen there, those are the reported Form 34As that have come in so far, and they're coming in quite fast. Yes.
Yeah.
34,312 out of the total 46,228. So that's 74% already.
Yes.
It's going
that's
very
fast. Positive.
Very
yes.
Good.
Yeah.
But they have to be verified.
Yeah, they have to be verified.
Yes, for them to be declared.
Yeah, then they have to be verified.
Yeah.
But they're coming in at a good rate, and that's a good thing, because then the possibilities of us having the verified results being released sooner rather than later is higher.
Yeah.
As I had said, and you see, this is system generated.
Exactly.
So they're actually giving us real time what is happening. IBC is sharing with us whatever it is that they have. And now the part which we have to wait is now the verification and then the declaration.
Yes.
Which is a very positive thing.
Which is positive. And all this because of technology.
Yes.
Yeah. So why don't we just advance with technology?
My observation normally looks after the technological innovation as well.
Yeah.
However, at the same time, it is very important to set the culture of election.
Yeah.
What does that mean?
Okay.
We cast the vote on the paper. Some country is using the technology.
Yeah.
But our country does not have that level of education.
Okay.
So non-educated voters not gonna use the technology and not gonna trust it. And that's why it is very important to set the election culture. And it is the people of Kenya and the government of Kenya and the Kenya gonna decide whether to use the electronic voting machine or paper ballot. I give you my own example. I went to Bangladesh. There was I was there to monitor the electronic machine, and they deployed that machine in six centers, and I was looking at it. 30 minutes they took for one to vote it. Sometimes it works, sometimes it has sweat on it, and you do like this. These are the problem we are having. Okay, We are having the problem, we can solve it. When you are going to solve it on the day of the election, can you delay the election? This is very important.
Very important.
And I went to Denmark.
Yeah.
I was expecting they're going to have everything of the technological innovation and everything on the remote. Okay, you can vote through the social media. That's fine. But we need to save our culture. We need to enjoy. We need to congratulate. We need to celebrate the election. This is the day of the country.
That's true.
This day gonna decide the future of Kenya.
Yeah, that's
and
true.
of course, I'm sitting in front of the journalists. It is the day for you.
Yeah.
Journalism starts from the politics.
Yeah.
And I went to Denmark. They were casting the vote. Paper ballot. Paper ballot. They did not use technology.
They used paper?
Yes. And I said,
okay,
we like it, this is our... And how did they start? They take their children with them. Children is not supposed to watch where they are casting on it. They cast it, they fold it, and they give it to the child or children or the baby. And baby gonna drop in the ballot box. And why did you do that? Because that vote will set the future of my baby.
So they inculcate it very early.
Yeah, so it is Kenya and Kenyan people to decide whatever it is. Now, regarding the registered voters, I think it is my opportunity, and I have to make clear to the people of Kenya as well. Registered voters are the voters, they are registered. But they are not the voters who gonna vote 100%.
Yeah.
Okay, number one. Number two, there might be the chances I will not vote it.
Yeah.
I'm registered, but I will not vote it. If I like my candidate, I will vote it, otherwise I will not. So politically, madam, there might be the political analysis on this issue, why the people are not interested in this political day. There might be. There might be the economical analysis. I think the country is not economically going on that level, so people are frustrated, they are not interested to vote it. But we cannot touch that point and make to spoil the election, number one. Number two, prediction was 70%. Okay. Gentlemen took the point, and I would like to use that point on the reference as well. How did, there was the 70% turnout in the election in my country as well. I don't like to take that reference and use that reference as well. How did they predict it? Twitter. How can you imagine that the one who messages in the Twitter is in Kenya? Facebook. Can you imagine how many people are using the Facebook? There might be the hackers. There might be the people who are gonna spoil this election. Why? Because coming to this country, I got only one point on my mind. Okay, I have to go Kenya. Why? Kenya has sent the message to the political arena this day. Why? Because 2 terms president, Kenyatta, had changed the job. You go and find other countries around the world in this age who gonna leave the presidency. Either they change the constitution like in Russia. So Kenya has a send message to the world, the new politics gonna start in Kenya. So there might be the hackers, I can debate on. Twitter, political campaign, YouTube, Facebook. So we cannot predict. That prediction was completely right. That prediction might be high so that you're gonna get the low turnout, then it can spoil the election end of the day. You predict something like, oh, my boy gonna get 90%. He's not gonna get 80%. I know, but I'm gonna say 90%. And he's gonna get 60%. Why did you get 30% difference? If I had said 80%, it would be 20%. So there might be the political actors behind it. So it is the people of Kenya who are gonna save Kenya. It is not we people. So this is, I'm alerting to the people of Kenya. Because end of the day, we are going to save our country by ourselves.
Yeah, that's true.
None of the country in the world, they have made other country in the world.
In the world, okay. Yeah, let me, Doreen, I need you on the smart board. If my director can display the presidential, the reported forms 34A again on the screen, we have 34,312 out of a total 46,229, and in terms of percentage, that is 74.22% from 34As in already. The time is 11:28, and just slightly under 25% remaining to go. Yeah, but I like the point that Kandal brought, that there's a way even the education system can speak to, having civic education. We did it in the olden days. It's incorporated in the curricula, so you learn about voting very early when the brain is being developed. So that's a good point you made. Are you familiar with M-Pesa? M-Pesa is a platform for sending and receiving money. It's a very safe way of here in Kenya, and it has won a lot of awards.
But I'm in Kenya. Yeah, I've been to United States of America, and I'm very good with new innovative culture as well. Yeah. But I still prefer use my hand to eat it.
Oh, to eat. Okay, that's a good one.
The flavor.
That's a good. In Ghana, have you observed the Ghanaian election? I don't know whether it's in Ghana
Zimbabwe.
or where. Zimbabwe?
I did it in Zimbabwe.
Where they use marbles. And yeah, so it really strengthens your point of culture. It depends on the culture of the country. Let me bring in Doreen to just give us tonight. It's occasionally having a conversation. Doreen, what do you
and that's our business. I mean, it's all about numbers and numbers. We are crunching for you those numbers. But before we get to the numbers, I'd like to pick our lead observer's mind, and this particular issue, just still sticking on the aspect of the young people. When you look at the KNBS report over 2019 released in 2020, you're looking at 35.7 out of the 47.6 million Kenyans who form the youth or the young people. So in your observation, even in these elections, I mean, oftentimes we've talked about crowds for hire. We've talked about always the young people being vulnerable, particularly in this election, either when it comes to causing chaos or just a bit of push and pull. So what has been your observation when it comes to that, generally, in respect to young people?
And that question, you've directed it to who?
Our lead observer. In this
Our lead observer. So
observers.
What she's asking is, for example, we did have a report called the Aga Khan report in 2016, and they interviewed the young people, right? And the summary was, for example, they were asked, do you want to get wealthy? And they said yes. And they were asked, does it matter how you become wealthy? And they said, getting wealthy at any cost. Okay. All right? So it's a sensitive demographic. You're not even almost sure how to handle it.
I have another reservation on it as well. We need to choose the sample. How many samples that you are using in it? Are you using the sample with the same kind of people at the same time? Or are you mixing with every kind of people together? If you go to, like, I've been to this Kibera. I got this all 15 polling station sent by my office in Kathmandu, Nepal. They are operating remotely. They are checking all the security issues in Kenya. And like, you can go, there is no problem. And my driver says, that's a very risky area. I got the information, let's go. I wonder, without security and all. It's completely secured. Whatever you see on the media, sometimes it's not real. And whenever you choose the sample, if I go and choose that sample, they're going to say, I don't know president, I don't like president, I don't vote. So you're going to use that sample and you're going to bring and you're going to predict the whole country? No. I've been to 13 polling centers, more than 65 polling stations. I can confidently, I can tell you, none of the observer have done that so in this day. I woke up 4, everyone gonna say the same thing, but I had the complete schedule, so I did 65 plus polling station observation. But I did not stay more than 5 minutes in the station. So I cannot tell what happened after that, because I stayed just 5 minutes. I can tell what had happened on that particular time. So it's all about the sample.
Okay.
So you are observing 65 polling stations. That means you are predicting whole Kenya? No, I was within the Nairobi City County only.
Only.
How can you predict you can say like, I have deployed this and this. Another important issue. I have observed 65 polling stations. I have not found even a single observing group who has the observer from morning to evening together on the same polling station. It is very important. You have to have the observer morning 5 to evening 5 on the same and get the data, everything. You go 5 minutes and you come out and you observe, oh, this is no, there was no people. When you go, there was fight. When you go out, there was not fight.
So you recommend that one observer stays at one polling station?
If they are deploying, we are thinking of doing such thing in this country. But telling you the truth, European Union, I think they are deploying and they are doing the observation in this country. 65 polling stations. When I was there, I checked everything. There were not even a single observer of European Union. But I cannot blame after that. When I was there, I didn't see anybody. 65 polling stations. Then how can they gonna write the report? Dipendra Kandel is here in Nairobi City today.
Okay. All right, I get you. Thanks for giving us the...
This is all about the sample. What you are going to take it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's about...
What kind of sample on it?
Yeah.
Which city? So we cannot do it. Okay, United Nations, till date, they are thinking of taking the poverty out from the world.
Mm-hmm.
They have been doing so since 60 years. I know. Then why they have not taken that out till date? Why?
Okay.
Who is stopping United Nations to take the poverty out from the country?
From the country. Okay, we'll come back to that. Let me cross over. Just hold that thought.
Who is stopping them?
Hold that thought. Let's bring in Zainab Said, who's at Lunga.
I went to Kibera.
Yeah.
I went to Kibera, and they die.
Yeah.
They have the $1 per day.
Okay.
Kibera.
All right. You know, Kibera is the biggest slum in Africa.
I know.
You know
I went
that.
to Kibera on my own single.
Yeah. Okay. All right. No problem. You did well.
Because I came here for Kenya.
Okay. Thank
so why
you.
do I scare here in this country?
All right. That's the observer of the observer.
You have to observe. Observer, their driver. Hey, come on, go.
Let's move away from Kibera and go to Lunga, where our
Hi Ella, play the music.
Huyu ausu ni mwarembetef mlambetef anaitwa Makoha
Makoha inaitwa Pam.
Atunaitwa nani?
Pam.
Na mimi ndio naitwa mlembe tembe Makoha. Sio sidona champion ni morio wangu wanzenza. Ni morio wangu wanzenza. Ni wanzenza.
Mtu wangu. Sasa nimekuja hapa kwa sababu nilikuwa nataka kuwatolea kifomu hivi.
Wacha.
Acha
sherehe.
usikii man siku yangu ya kuzaliwa. So lazima niende pale.